Welcome to the Chaos and Carry-Ons podcast with Stephanie.
And a very sick Shelby. That sounds like a man.
Chaos and carry-ons, let's go. Disney dreams in tow, Every flight and every ride. Join the journey, come inside.
So we have a special guest today. Do you want to tell them who it is and why?
Yeah, we have a super special guest. So we decided that when it's our kids' birthday week, we're going to have them be the special guest of the day. So this podcast will be about 30A when we went back in March, but we're going to start out the podcast with Taylee.
She's so excited. She has asked me every day this week, are you doing the podcast today? Are you doing the podcast? Because she knew that she was going to be on here and she's pumped.
Well, so we're going to hear from Taylee what her favorite part about being six is and what she's looking forward to about being seven. So I can't wait to hear it. So I'm also going to add at the end one of my favorite Taylee stories. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, you're going to have to talk loud, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So what was your favorite part of being six?
My birthday snow.
Your birthday snow?
Yes.
And you prayed for that snow, didn't you?
Yes.
Yes. And how much snow did you get? Was it a
A
lot or just a
lot.
little? It was a lot. And what did you do in the snow? Did you make a snow angel or a snowman?
A snow angel.
You made a snow angel. So, what are you looking forward to when you turn seven?
Um, be being seven on a cruise.
Yes, you're going on a cruise next week. That's exciting.
Yes.
What character are you most looking forward to seeing?
I don't know.
You don't know? Mickey or Minnie?
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. You have to send me some pictures.
Okay.
Okay.
So there you have it. That's an interview with a six, almost 7-year-old.
I
Lots of
know.
lots of yeses and I don't knows.
Well, her voice sounds so little.
I know.
It's sad. I was watching a video of Harper. I think she was about maybe 9, and I was thinking she has such a big girl voice now.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get into our 30A trip, and this was probably a depressing trip in some ways. Shelby was thick in her treatment. She
Mm-hmm.
probably didn't feel the best, but hey, I thought you acted like you had a good time. I don't know if you was faking it to make it, but
No, I actually wasn't. That was the week before. So that was like between my easy, and I'm doing air quotes here for easy chemo versus like the hardcore, like make you feel like junk around the clock chemo. So I
yeah.
really did feel good for that trip.
Yeah, it was a great trip. So let's start off with saying I booked the trip very last minute. Now, I can be a little more type B than Shelby is very type A. Think like Monica and Rachel if you're a Friends fan.
Hmm.
So it wasn't as, I'm going to say, stressful for me to kind of throw it together. I think we just kind of both thought, let's get away. Sophia was the one that was wanting to go to 30A. All her friends were going. I just got on Airbnb. Um, we had no real, what's the word you want to use? Ideas about where we were going to stay. There was a lot of places that we could choose from. There was Seaside, there was Alice. I'm forgetting all of them.
I was gonna interject and say, like, for people that don't, I mean, I feel like most of our listeners probably know what 30A is, but 30A is like a main highway through Florida, like the Panhandle side. Where does it start? Like Destin? It starts right past Destin and
Yeah, I think it's
ends,
Sandestin, right?
yes, Sandestin to like Panama City, and there's lots of little beach towns. 30A is the street name of that, but there's, like you said, Seaside, Rosemary. What was Seacrest? Is that where we stayed or something Crest? I don't,
We stayed in Inlet Beach.
oh, that's right.
Yeah. So we stayed in the neighborhood. It was called Prominence. And again, never seen this place really before, but what drew us or me to that was something that they called the Big Chill. And that was going to be right across the street. So I was thinking, we'll have plenty of stuff to do right there. Shelby was not going to be feeling good. And it really ended up being the perfect spot. And if I was going to go back, that's where I would go back, especially as a first timer. It was right in the middle, wouldn't you say?
Yes, it was.
So the main thing I was trying to find was a house with a golf cart. And that ended up being one of the highlights of the whole trip for the kids was riding that stupid golf cart everywhere.
And I told you when we were looking at those. So you had narrowed it down to two or two or three and sent me the options. And one had a golf cart and the other one didn't, right?
Yeah.
I kept saying like, our kids, I'm telling you, that will make their trip. Like we've got to do the golf cart. We just rode around the neighborhood looking at the houses. Like
I
we were
know.
doing nothing and they loved it. They loved
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So we didn't go out a whole lot in the inside the restaurants because again, Shelby was sick. And so we were kind of trying to do the social distance thing.
Mhm.
But let me say the pools were heated. So it was March. It wasn't super warm, but those kids got in that pool. Like, what do you think the degrees was that day when they got in?
Like outside, it
Yeah.
was in the 70s, but I want to say it was like the low 70s, but it was very sunny.
Yeah. I was thinking it was like 69 or 70, like
Yeah.
right at 70.
Yes. I don't think it was above like maybe 72 the entire time we were there.
You would have never known it by the way that those kids were
No.
in that pool.
We have pool
They,
babies though. They don't care. None of
yes,
them
yes,
do.
yes. So they had the best time in that pool. So I would say look for a heated pool if you're going to go for spring break. Um, so okay, let's just go ahead and tell the golf cart story because
Yeah.
we talked about the best part was having a golf cart. So people would drive their golf carts to the beach. And the beach that we were going to go to was Alice. Well, I'm glad that we turned around. But we started off, we had no idea where we were going. I think that was our first day, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
So we we start following these people that are in front of us. I think who yelled out to the people? Somebody yelled out to them and said, "Where are you going?" And
Was it
did they,
Derek?
I kind of think it was because he was driving. And they said, did they say Alice Beach or did they say Rosemary?
I think Rosemary, because I think you
Okay.
come from where we were. I think you come to Rosemary first and then Alice.
Okay.
So we were just going to follow them and go.
Yeah. So we had no idea. So we take off and Derek's like, okay, we're gonna follow them. Sure. Okay. I don't know how far we got into it. And let's also say that nobody had good cell phone service. And I think it was me and you started looking, how far is this? Because we're in this golf cart. This thing is bogged down. Like it's not going
We have
fast.
we have 8 people on this golf cart, which it seated, was it six? Because I think
Yeah,
I
I
was
seated
holding
six.
Taylee, you were holding
Yes.
Mateo. So
Yes.
we have 8 people on this 6-person golf cart, plus your big honking bog bag, my big bog bag. We had kites, we had chairs, like we had the umbrellas, I think, too, with it. Like we were
Oh yeah.
going to the beach, like we
Yes.
had it all. So
Yes.
our
Yes.
little golf cart was, we were low riding.
Oh, it was putt-putting along.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of what did it get up to? Was it 26?
I think
Like the speed?
maybe. I don't
So
know.
just imagine. And it was cold on there. So we were all wearing
Mhm.
like sweatshirts and jackets and we had on like beach hats. It was hilarious. Like I said, we were both looking and me and Shelby are talking amongst ourselves and we're like, this is too far. I think we're going to run out of battery. Right? I think that was why we were
Hmm.
telling him to turn around.
Yeah.
So I start telling Derek, you need to turn around.
Those people that we were following, they had 4 people on their golf cart.
Yes,
So
yes.
they just took off. I mean, we were following them, but
Yes.
they left us like
Yeah,
we
yeah, yeah. Oh,
way, way, way
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, we couldn't see them anymore. And at that point, Shelby was like, first of all, we don't even know where the beach access is, the public. We're not getting a cell phone service enough to really give us directions, but we can get a cell phone service enough. I think what it was is I had screenshot, they
Yes.
had like a, what do you call it? Like an info. sheet of paper and it was telling
Mm-hmm.
you how to get to the beach, the different beach accesses and how
Mm-hmm.
far that they were away. And Shelby's like, this one is going to be too far. I don't see
Yeah.
how we're going to make it. So I started telling Derek to turn around. And I must have said it like 10 times. You need to turn around. You need to turn around. And he says, I told him turn around right now. I was meaning like turn around when you're getting a chance, like you need to turn around in somebody's driveway. Well, okay, let's also say Taylee's recording at
Yeah,
this point.
she's holding the GoPro.
We're on the golf cart, guys. She's like her own little YouTuber at this point.
Yeah. So Taylee was recording this golf cart video, this golf cart adventure. And I told her, I literally said, turn off the GoPro so we can save the battery because they wanted to
Yeah.
film each other like at the beach. And I said,
Yes.
turn off the video and save the battery and whatever space is on there for when we
Yeah.
get to the beach. In that moment, she stops it and you tell
Yes.
Derek, turn around right now. Well, Derek is very
Literal.
literal,
Yes.
very, very literal. And like Steph said, she meant for him to like at the next driveway or at the next parking lot, turn around. He just whips it in the you can go ahead and finish the story, but
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what I was gonna say is their little Taylor was, and she's like, I heard Shelby as I'm saying, you need to turn around right now. She's like, Taylor, the way Taylor, turn off that GoPro. You're gonna run down the battery. And she's turning it off. And I'm like, Derek, we're not gonna make it. Turn around right now. And he just like it probably even made the sound. I heard Jordan say, oh Lord. Like literally bouncing. He goes off into this yard, I guess, and we're there's a big tree with these real low leaves. I feel like you can picture the tree if you've been to the beach. You know, it has these
like
real
low-hanging
low
branches.
branches. Yes. Well, he drives like the way that he goes straight into the yard and then again turns it real sharp and the we go right into these branches. Well, first of all, as he does that and we're going towards the tree, I remember I turn around and I'm looking at the girls are in the very back, making sure that they're still on the golf cart. I'm looking at Shelby and she is holding on to her hat and wig, and then she's got Taylee. And I look up and we're gonna hit the branches. And in my mind, I'm thinking he's gonna stop like and back up. No.
It was
He keeps
pedal to the metal the
yes.
entire time. He never lifted his foot off that gas pedal.
No. So then he goes right into the branches. The branches are flying everywhere, like right into this tree. To hear him tell it, like, I turned around by the tree. There was just a branch or two fell off. No,
Uh-uh.
it was so bad that we were pulling the branches off of that thing after we got through. Okay, well, here's the kicker. As he's turning and we get, and he never stops. He never stopped from the time that we went through there to getting back on the road. It was, like she said, pedal to the metal the whole time. So Harper, look, me and Shelby, look. There is a balcony, and there the entire family of I don't know if they own the place or if they were renting the place. They're all standing out there watching this, watching
Yes.
us that we just hit this. And the thing that really just made it hilarious is they were all wearing matching t-shirts. So I assume that it was a
Family
family
reunion.
reunion. Yes. The look on their faces, they looked annoyed. They did not, nobody was laughing. And who was it that said sorry? Was it
That
Harper?
was Harper. That was Harper, yes.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I want to tell from my perspective because, okay, so Derek and Stephanie are in the very front with Mateo in the middle, are in the front. And then me, Jordan, and Taylee are in the next seat. Harper and Sophia are in the very back of the golf cart, like facing behind. Like those seats are turned. I mean, anybody that's ever seen a big golf cart knows that. But from my perspective, so I'm telling Taylee, like, turn off the GoPro. Steph's telling Derek, turn right now, turn around. Well, he whips it into that yard of the house. And like, I mean, pedal to the metal the entire time. So we're going straight for that tree. But not only that, it wasn't just like grass that went to the driveway, it was like
No,
a curb or like one of those, what do you call those, like railroad tie, like the big
yes,
wooden
I
that
don't know. Yeah.
that's what was separating, like landscape barrier was separating the grass from the driveway of this house. Well, we not only take out the branches of this tree, but he also jumps this curb thing for us to get up. And that's when we see the family sitting there. They're on the about like the upstairs of this house, just looking down. And we weren't going to say anything. We were laughing so hard. And like once he like turned around, so now Harper and Sophia are facing the family. And Harper says, "Sorry about that." And we just kept going. Like Derek never stopped one time the entire
No,
time.
no, no. And then, no, what he says is, as we are, I think I'm screaming, Derek, Derek, like, he doesn't care. And as we're leaving the driveway, he says, well, you told me to turn around. Like
Yes.
it was my fault. And Shelby is saying, I'm so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. I just remember Jordan goes, well, I'm not that embarrassed. I wasn't the one driving.
Jordan doesn't get embarrassed anyways. Like it takes a lot to embarrass him because his theory is I'm never going to see these people again. I'm on vacation.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Well, Shelby was laughing so hard that she was crying, and so was I. But what was funny, and Jordan was laughing, but what was funny is that Derek just stayed like,
Yeah.
just just
Like it was
normal.
a normal daily activity that I mean, I don't why did he not think it? I mean, he laughed with us a little bit, but he did not. I mean, that was like the first day of our trip. And for the
I
next
have no
3 or 4 days, every time we thought about it, any one of us, we just busted out laughing
idea.
anytime we thought about it. But he never did.
No, at that point he was very annoyed because he was thinking that it was my fault because I said turn around right now. And I was like, I didn't mean literally immediately. He goes, well, that's what it was coming across. I was like, no, when did I say that? I thought it was just like a normal, I don't know, whatever. Anyways, after that, we were like, does Derek really need to drive this golf cart anymore?
I don't think he did. I think
I don't,
Jordan did every
I
time
think
after that.
I kind of seems like maybe once he did, like when we
Yeah,
went to the Big Chill and stuff. But okay, so we went over to, I think it was called Deer Park.
it was.
Yeah, that beach was awesome. Now, you
Hmm.
had to walk a really, really long way to get there. I felt so bad for Shelby. We must have asked you 1,000 times, are you okay?
Yeah, it was fun.
But she did fine. If you have to go to the bathroom, really far walk, but I think it was worth it.
Yes. So the walk was not like I've been to the beach sometimes where you're walking that long in the sand. This was not. It
Yes.
was like a wooden it's not a pier, but I don't know what you would call it. Like that's on
Yeah.
like a I don't know. Anyways, it was probably well, you clocked it, didn't you, on your watch? Wasn't it like
Yes.
it was over half a mile, I think,
It was
one
point
way?
0.7. Yeah, it was
Okay.
point 0.7.
So the walk to the beach was long, but once we got out on the beach, there was nobody there. We had it
Yeah,
to ourselves all
I
day.
think because they didn't want to walk it.
I think so.
It was amazing because that beach, if you've ever been to Destin, I mean, it's just as pretty as Destin is,
Hmm.
but there was just something about being out there and there was nobody there. It was amazing. How many families do you think were around us? Maybe two?
Well, I was looking at these pictures the other day. I mean, there's nobody in the background of any of our pictures that day.
I
There
know.
might there might have been maybe five total families, counting all of us. Maybe that's probably overshooting it, but there was like nobody out there.
Yeah, it was awesome. So we we did go to another beach the next day. I guess it was just Seaside, right?
I I don't remember the name of that one.
So we went to the beach and we it was hard to find a parking space if you remember that. And we found one and we had to kind of walk a little ways, but that one was better for dropping Shelby off and her not having to
Mhm.
walk. But man, was it crowded.
It was.
It was packed.
And I even went back to that one maybe the last night because I was going to take some pictures of Taylee out on the beach. And I just like went out there, we took one picture and walked back because there were so many people in the background. I was like,
Yeah.
it's not worth the amount of time I'm going to spend photoshopping these people out to take a picture here. It
Yeah.
was so crowded.
It was packed. It was a pretty beach, but it was just really, really crowded.
Hmm.
So if you want to go to a place that's not crowded, Deer Park, but you're going to have to walk.
And
Um,
take cash. Or was it cash
yes.
or you had to like scan a QR code to pay with your card, but nobody had cell phone service.
Right.
So you had to pay, was it $3? It wasn't expensive at all. You had to
I was
pay
thinking
to
two, but
park
yeah.
there. Um, and it didn't matter if you're in a golf cart, a car, like it doesn't, everybody has to pay. But
Right.
it was totally worth that and the long walk, in my opinion, for a secluded beach.
The other thing that I was going to say is that was a good place to stay because each direction, the traffic was horrific. Going towards Alice and Rosemary, did you guys get out? I think we did, but we couldn't even find parking spaces so that we could do it together. I think
Yeah,
we ended up at Alice and you ended up at Rosemary.
yeah, we ended up not at the same place, but it was just kind of like if you can find a parking spot, go. Like just we'll just do what we can do.
Yeah, yeah. And then we went in the other direction and went to Seaside, and that was horrific. Let's
Hmm.
say that all the teenagers, the little teeny boppers, they were all on Seaside. It was
Yes.
unbelievable. I had never seen anything like that in my life. And you could tell that these were not college kids. These were high school kids.
Hmm.
So if you want to be with the high schoolers, then go to Seaside. The older, I'm going to say college age and above, seemed to be in the other direction, but I really thought Inlet was perfect. It
It
didn't
was.
seem overly crowded there.
No, it was honestly, it was like the best of all the worlds because you're in 30A, you have the same beaches as everybody else. Like she's saying, like it's very similar to Destin Beach, like where it's powdery sand, clear water, but it wasn't crowded. Even the Big Chill, that area, I mean, it got more crowded at night, but it never
Hmm.
was overran, I didn't feel like.
Yeah. So I feel bad because we didn't really say what the Big Chill was. So the Big Chill was a place that had like restaurants. There was a Build-A-Bear in there. They had little shops. They had live music sometimes during the night.
Hmm.
What else was in there? Ice cream.
Yep. Because we went and had that ice cream several times.
Yeah, it was really good food. I didn't think it was just ridiculously expensive.
It wasn't. And it's like quick service type foods. They had a seafood one, they had one that was like burgers and chicken. There was a Mexican. What else did they have? Was that it? Like a barbecue, maybe.
Yeah.
Barbecue, brisket, that kind of thing. So
Did
you
you say
had
burgers?
options. Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
So you had
there were several.
options. I mean, there was something for everybody there, without
Yes.
having to go like sit down at a restaurant, wait forever, which, like she said, that was the point. Like we were trying not to do that because my immune system was so compromised at that time. And so we were just trying to stay away from the people.
So let's talk because we're talking about food. Let's talk about Scratch Kitchen
Oh my
first.
goodness. Oh,
That that became the thing that we all talked about for months after we had it.
mm-hmm,
Now, me and Derek are big foodies. I'll say that.
mm-hmm.
And we love breakfast. Now, Jordan is picky, but Jordan also loves breakfast.
That's what I was gonna say. Y'all are foodies regardless of what meal it is.
Right.
Jordan and I are foodies when it comes to breakfast places and we're on vacation. That's our thing. I don't know when it became our thing, but we love like the random breakfast places and we all four, something we all share, we're like donut connoisseurs.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's something that all four of us have in common. And every single morning, we ordered breakfast from somewhere different every time, but then we
Right.
had them get donuts too,
Yes,
so
because
we
the
could
Lutzens,
compare.
yes, the Lutzens have to have donuts on every trip. That's one of our things.
Hmm.
So or we had Scratch Kitchen. Well, she said donuts. So the day before that, I think it was called the Peppered Pig. Does that sound right?
Maybe.
We had Donut Hole, let's say that. And we know and love Donut Hole. Like we've had it at Destin. I feel like we've had it wherever else they have. And we like it, but at this place, it was called the Peppered Pig. They had something that was called Charlie's Donuts.
Hmm.
And those were awesome. I can't remember my favorite one.
It's called the Perfect Pig.
That's it.
I
I
had to
can't.
Google it because
Okay.
I knew it was something pig, but I couldn't remember what it was.
Yes. So that's where we first had those donuts. And I was feeling like we had a different donuts besides Donut Hole and Charlie's, but that ended up being the favorite.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Charlie's was number one. I mean, that I would I would almost say that might have been the best donut I ever had, ever.
Oh, it was so good. It was so good. I was trying to remember all the ones that we had though. I know we had the cake. I remember I had an apple one. I think you had an apple
Mine was
fritter.
mine was blueberry,
Okay.
the blueberry cake donut because I was comparing it to a little local donut shop that we have here. And oh, landslide better at Charlie's. Like, oh, oh, I would drive down there right now for one of those.
It was so good. So then like I said, then let's go back. We're getting squirrely here. So let's go back to the Scratch Kitchen.
Hmm.
Those biscuits were awesome. Awesome.
Yes.
And they made their
Okay.
own jam.
That's what I was about to say. The biscuit was awesome, but let's give a moment to the strawberry jam.
Oh, it was so good. I've never had jam that tasted like that. We all
Mm-mm.
said that. Listen, we live in the South. People bring us their little homemade jams that they make. I'm sure you've gotten a ton. I've got a jar right now that somebody gave to me
Yeah.
in the refrigerator. It's good. It's not
Hmm.
Scratch Kitchen good.
Mm-mm.
That jam, I don't know what they put in there. Oh, it was so
Steph, are you not going to say that you like literally took it in your purse and took it
good.
home and ate it like the day after we left? You're not good. You weren't going to admit that, were you?
No, I wasn't. But yeah, I asked them for a little extra one and I was putting them in my purse. And then as soon as I got home, I put them in the refrigerator. And then I sent Shelby like a picture and I was like, you should have taken home the jam.
Hmm.
Oh, it was so good.
So it's comparable if you are nearby a Maple Street Biscuit Company. That's our number one breakfast place where we live.
Hmm.
Me and Jordan both are obsessed with it. We love it. Anytime he has a weekend off, that's you're going to find us at Maple Street. It was comparable to that, but it was better. Scratch Kitchen was better than Maple Street, and that's a
It
hill
was.
I'll die on.
It was so good. So you got to try that. And then I know we talked about in Hawaii that Shelby and Jordan are obsessed, maybe more than me, little known fact, I'm half Mexican. I know I'm a white Mexican, but it's true. And Shelby and Jordan might eat Mexican more than I do.
I think we
I
do.
don't know. Their local place, if you like, Shelby says we're eating out tonight, it's probably there. Honestly. It's funny because every time you come back from a vacation, you're like, they're not home yet unless that's where they've ate, you know?
I think it's
You,
sad that you know that.
that's what you always say, like, let's go home and eat there. Like you'll say that
Yeah.
as you're leaving.
Yeah. Well,
So
that's like our
anyway,
tradition when we come back from vacation because I don't have groceries in the house. We always eat there and then go get our groceries every time.
well, Shelby's like, I remember she comes in the room and I dream of this Mexican place that's in Destin. And I looked it up. What did you say? It was an hour away?
Yeah.
She, I was like, sure. So, I mean, we love to eat Mexican. They probably do more than we do, but she's like, let's go. So that was almost like our whole day was,
Yeah. It
well,
felt
I
like
forgot. We also went to the outlet malls in
uh-huh.
Destin on the way back. So we drove. So that'll tell you 38 is about an hour from Destin. And we
Mhm.
went out there and ate at this little Mexican place. And honestly, it was pretty good. Now that was the second time I've ate it. And I did say it was a lot better than I remember it being.
It is. So I'm going to give a shout out to Jordan's cousin because she's the one that found this place, Torino. I don't know if
Hmm.
you'll ever hear this. I know Cassie listens. I don't know about Torino, but she found this Mexican place at Destin a few years ago. We were there and I had her leftovers. Like we went and ate somewhere else because at that point I was like, who eats Mexican on the beach? Like at the beach, you don't eat Mexican. So I had her leftovers that night and it was so good. Left over, I knew it had to taste good fresh. So we went the next day. And at that point, that's when we started going to this place in Destin. And knowing that 30A, like I Googled it and I'm like, okay, we can be there in 48 minutes. Let's do it. It's worth it. It's called
Yeah.
Pepito. Pepitos? Is that what it's called? I
Yes.
feel like it's Pepitos. Everything there is so good. So
Yes.
I'm just throwing that out there. Thank you, Tarina, for finding Pepitos for us.
Well, it was funny because, well, like I said, Shelby was going through her treatment, and I know a lot of stuff didn't sound great to her at times. And she would mention that. I want to drive to Destin and go to that Pepitos, which is hilarious. And that tells you everything you need to know about us. We'll we both do dumb stuff like that sometimes, you know. It's like there's a place that's by Shelby that let's just say she has not had not even been to until recently that I would go out of my way. It's 2 hours from my house, and I would go out of my way to go to this place.
Hmm.
And so that's the kind of people that we are. So, like I said, when she was like 48 minutes, I was thinking I drive 2 hours to that meat and three place I'm obsessed with. What's 48 minutes?
I know, right?
Actually, speaking of that, I just told Derek that last night. I said, before the snowstorm, let's go up and have the meat and three. He said, you are not right. That is insane that you would drive 4 hours total just to eat that. I said, well, it's so good. I love it. But
I do too.
nobody is obsessed with it like me.
Mm-mm.
Anyway, so that was one of the highlights of the trip was then we stopped at those outlet malls, mostly for Beaufort Bonnet. Let's just throw that out there.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yes, the Beaufort Bonnet Company signature store. Well, was it a signature store or I don't know. I wanted to
I
see it
think it
in real
was.
life. I wanted to
I think it
see it
was.
and we went. That's why I forgot all about that being there.
Yeah, that was like one of your things that you had on your list was to go see Beaufort Bonnet. So if you're a Beaufort Bonnet fan, it was a nice little
Hmm.
store.
Hmm.
But those were probably the main parts of the trip because that was such a low key
Hmm.
trip. I was thinking, I forgot to look up the price. It was like around $1,000, I think, for 4 nights, which that house was, it was really, it was a townhouse.
Hmm.
Um, but I didn't think that that was bad.
No, and it was, we had, was it 3 bedroom? Four? I think it
It
was
was three.
three. Um, and it had the golf cart included. It wasn't on
Mm-hmm.
the beach, but that's something that I noticed about that area. If you want on the beach, you're gonna pay like 10 plus grand. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
for a week, especially spring break. So to
Mm-hmm.
be like, we were across the street from the beach, but we had the golf cart and we were right there at the big chill. So for the trip that we wanted it to be, I mean, like she said, it was low key, laid back. We didn't want to go do all the people-y things. Um,
Right.
I mean, I would totally go back. I would go back and even stay longer. It was a quick, like, it just wasn't long enough, but no vacation ever is long enough. But
I
I
know.
really, that was my first time at 38. We are Destin people usually, Destin or Sandestin, either one. Um, but I loved 38.
It was awesome. We had such a good time. It's funny. I was just looking in here. I was like, "Where's the pictures from that?" And then I thought, I realized I was looking in 2023. Man, time is going by so fast. I didn't realize it was
Mm,
2024. But anyway, so we're gonna okay, so we're gonna end this episode with the highs and lows, and then we're also gonna talk about Taylee's
mm-hmm.
our favorite things about Taylee. So one of the things I'm gonna say is the highs, of course, was the golf cart, but the other high is that I want to say Shelby's birthday is at the end of February, right?
Yes.
And I had just given her a gem of a gift. And when I walked in, she was wearing that gift. And the do you want to say it or you want me to say
Go for it.
it? So,
We already told them in last week's episode, they heard all about your gift giving of abilities.
well, okay. So I gave her it was a sweatshirt. I don't know if you've seen these, but it had Jordan's pictures all over it. And it was like, and it says Jordan on it. And it's supposed to be like, you get them for your boyfriend or you get them for your girlfriend. It's supposed to be, them looking like all, I don't know, what do you want to use the word attractive?
I mean, it's technically like sexy pictures. Like
Yeah.
attractive is putting it nicer, but can I say sexy on a podcast? Will that flag us? I don't know.
idea. But it was hilarious. It was hilarious photos. Like one of them, he's drinking like a lemonade
Uh-huh.
in the
He's like
photo.
looking off in the distance, but it's got one of those straws that's like the swirly
Yeah.
straw. So you went through and picked, which some of the pictures are good pictures of him, like he's actually smiling. But some
Yeah.
of them, like the lemonade, like some of them are just like funny pictures.
One of them, he has like his hand on his chin, like he's like striking a
Oh yeah.
pose. They
Yeah,
were just really funny. Well, I hyped it up too. I was like, this is a great gift. And she said that she fell on the floor laughing.
I
She
did.
saw it. But I told her I wanted her to open it in front of him. I think you did, didn't you?
I did. Yes, I did.
Well, that's one of my favorite memories from the trip is me walking in and seeing her actually wearing it and Jordan just looking at me like, why did you give this to her?
You know what's funny? I actually wore it yesterday and I went to Publix. Like I don't even I'll wear it out. I don't care.
I remember Jordan's like, I said to her, like, you're not actually going to wear that, are you?
Yeah. Oh yes, I do.
Well, that had nothing to do with the trip, but that's one of my favorite memories because we just had such a good laugh over it. And that
Hmm.
was really what it was. It was like, it was so depressing. Everything just seemed so depressing. So I was like, I
Hmm.
have to give the gift of a laugh. Hey, that's my thing with the Derek Dillard. That wasn't even a depressing time.
No, it wasn't. But it still provides us laughs now.
Anyway, so that was one of my favorite things. For the low, I'm gonna say that it was that night that we went to the Big Chill. And do you remember like how crowded and loud it was?
I think it was a Friday night or a Saturday,
Yes,
whatever it was. It
yes.
was like the weekend, and that's why.
And before we didn't have a problem with this, but it seemed like there was a lot of, I'm gonna say adults. It wasn't teenagers, but it was adults and like that woman was drunk. Do you remember that? And
Yep,
she
I was
was
just
like
thinking
had
about that.
yeah, she had her kid was like not even paying attention to him at
Mm-mm,
all. We just left. We got our food and we left. It was too
mm-mm.
much. That was probably the low point.
Okay, so the high for me was, you're gonna laugh when I say this, but I think you already know what I'm gonna say.
I don't.
It's a tie. It's a tie between two things. And the first thing is the scratch kitchen biscuit with jam. And the
Okay, yeah.
second thing is the Charlie's blueberry donut. And when you look at me, you can tell I like to eat. I'm not skinny by any
Well,
means.
those were good.
I
Those were
mean,
the highlights.
30A in general, it was a really good trip. It's hard to pick a high because it was just all like it was really good. I think the low for me was just the weather. I wish it would have been warmer. If it would, I mean, we still made the best of it and we had a great trip. So the weather
We did.
wasn't keeping us inside. But
No.
I mean, I love being at the beach when it's like 80s because it's warm
Hmm.
enough to be in. I mean, our kids were still in the water. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
But that would be the low for me is just that I wish it would have been warmer. But it didn't
Yeah.
rain while we were there. The
No.
sun was shining. I mean, it was a really good trip.
Let's also put in there because me and Shelby talked about this before. We were not going to negatively talk about the weather to the kids.
Mm-mm.
And we live and die by that.
Hmm.
If you hype up your trip, like we're gonna have the best trip, it's gonna be chilly,
Hmm.
we're still gonna love it. I feel like the kids go off of how you're feeling and
They
doing.
definitely do. And that is exactly what we did when we went to Disney in June, because June in Orlando is so hot. But we did not make comments in front of the kids about the heat. We just found stuff to do during the day. We went to the parks at night, and that was a really good trip also. So,
Hmm.
like you
Yes.
said, like they feed off you. So if you're negative Nelly about how rainy it's going to be or how cold it is or how hot it's going to be, they're going to feed off that. So if you just don't say
Yes.
anything and make the best of it either way,
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know. Life's what you make it.
Yeah. Now, like Sophia wouldn't get in the pool. I think she did for a little bit, but then she said it was chilly, and we were like,
Hmm.
that's fine. We didn't like make her be in the pool if it was cold, or we didn't make her be in the
Hmm.
ocean because it was cold. But you know what I'm saying? We didn't say like it's too cold, don't get in the
Hmm.
pool. We were just like, it's heated. If you want to get in, and they got in. I mean, I think all of us got in except for you.
Yeah. Um, I don't think any of us got in the ocean at all, did we? Maybe like ankle deep, like knee deep.
No, the girls, Taylee and Harper did.
They did. See, that's what I knew that they built all those sandcastles that Mateo was going behind them crashing
Yeah,
down.
that was
But
gonna say that was one of my. I was gonna put that as my favorite for Taylee as a
mhm,
6-year-old.
yeah. So, I mean, they played a lot in the sand and it was perfectly fine. Like the sun was shining and it was warm enough on the beach, but the water
Hmm.
was chilly.
It was. I don't think it was any more chilly than when we went to Vero Beach. I'll say that though, like
No,
the Atlantic.
but I mean, it was a great trip either way. It doesn't matter. So, I highly would recommend 30A. Like she said, that neighborhood that we stayed in across from the Big Chill, that area is perfect. But make sure your house has a golf cart. Just don't
Mhm.
ever let Derek drive you in the golf cart.
No, it was a good trip. But okay, let's go ahead and talk about Taylee. Like I said, that was going to be one of my favorite things or memories from her being 6 was her poor little Taylee. She was working so hard on those uh sandcastles and she was having all of us help her too.
Hmm.
And we were, and then Mateo, you would just have to know Mateo. You
God
know, it's
love
funny.
him.
And I was also thinking about this yesterday when I was thinking about Taylee and it being her birthday. All of our kids are so different. And I know everybody says that about their kids, but truly, every single one of our kids, and even Taylee, all
Hmm.
of them are nothing alike.
No.
They all have very different personalities. Well, Mateo is very mischievous.
I think Taylee is probably like a younger version of Sophia. I do think
Yeah,
that
I
they
would say
have
that.
similar personalities, but it's hard to compare a 16-year-old and a 6-year-old. But I think when
Yes.
Sophia was younger, Taylee does remind me, a lot of things Taylee does reminds me of young Sophia.
Yeah. Yeah. Sophia's very laid back. She's very goofy.
Hmm.
She's very adaptable, where Harper
Hmm.
is not very adaptable. Harper
Harper
is
should
very
have been my kid. She should have
yes.
been my, she's more like me than she is you.
Yeah, she's very type A,
Hmm.
extremely to the point that I get on Harper's nerves. Not that Harper gets on my nerves, but I get on Harper's nerves. She comes behind me all the time and is, Mom, this is a wreck, you know. So, anyways, but little Taylee, she was, like I said, Mateo was very mischievous. So he got it in his mind, all Taylee's hard work and effort, like it was bringing him such joy
Hmm.
to
To destroy.
to destroy. And it was so pitiful at times. We were like, Mateo. And then I remember Shelby just goes, This is what little brothers are like,
Hmm.
pesky.
They are.
So, they're okay. It's not when she was 6, but when we were at Alani, Shelby, let's say we were not sitting by each other some of the days. Like I'd be over in the little splash area with Mateo, and she would be over by the lazy river because that's where Jordan, Taylor, and Harper were living was in the lazy river.
Hmm.
So I came over there and I said, where's Harper and Taylor? And she said, oh, I sent him over to which pool was it? The
It
infinity
was one
pool?
of like, yeah, I don't remember which pool it was, but they wanted to go, so I was like, okay, well, y'all, you know where it's at.
Yeah.
Go, just
And
go.
she goes, I sent him over there. She goes, you think it's fine, right? You think they'll find it? I'm like, no. Like Harper, we had just gotten there. I was like, no, I get turned around. So I said, well, let me go find them. So I go over there. Sure enough, they're lost when I find them. They're over at what's now the adult pool. And at that time it wasn't. But they're searching around trying to find the path for the infinity pool. And I said, what are you guys doing? I said to Harper, I said, Shelby told me that she sent you over here, and I told her that you would not know where you were going. And Taylor says in her little voice, well, Shelby Lorraine thought we could find our own way. It was so funny.
I
The way
had
she
faith.
says,
I had faith in them. I mean, I told them stay together. It was one little path, but you're right. Y'all had only been there like 6 hours.
yeah, yeah, Shelby Lorraine thought we'd be fine. That's what she said in her little southern voice. It was
Uh-huh.
so cute. But that's one of my favorite Taylor memories.
Well, I know she said that her favorite part of being 6 was her birthday snow, and an interview with a 6-year-old, it's gonna go exactly how it went, like very short. Or for her anyway. Some 6-year-olds probably would talk your head off, but that was my favorite memory. Well, one of my favorites of her when she was like for her 6th birthday. She wanted snow. Her birthday's January 17th, and a lot of years it does snow around her birthday. We drove on solid ice to go to the hospital to have her. Like it snowed the day she was born. And
Mhm.
she wanted snow for her birthday. She wanted a white birthday, is what she kept saying. So I told her, I said, well, just pray for it, and maybe the Lord will do that for you. So she started praying probably before Christmas, and she did every day. And on her birthday, do you remember how many inches? I want to say it was between 10 and 12. And for Tennessee, that's a lot of snow. I know, like, the
Yeah.
people up north are laughing. 10 inches, what? But for us, that's a blizzard. And it shut the entire state down for at least a week. It might have
Yeah.
been more like 10 days. And so she got her birthday snow.
Yeah. Let's
That,
also say that you were like very newly into
yeah, I had
treatment.
only had two chemo treatments at that point.
Yeah. And you were like, how am I going to get my treatment? It was,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I knew because I saw how much she prayed for that and how I just knew how bad she wanted that and knew it was going to happen. There was no doubt in my mind.
Yeah. So you were preparing.
I was preparing. I bought sleds and snow boots and because I knew like her snow's coming. I knew it was. And so I don't know, just seeing her excitement for that, like something that she prayed for happening like that. I don't know, it was just really sweet, but that's probably my favorite.
Yeah. She's almost too good. It's like Sophia. You have to get a Harper that's the
Uh-huh.
terrible toddler, the one that you're like carrying out of the Target and people are
Yeah.
looking at you. And I remember Derek's like, yeah, be afraid. Like this lady was pregnant. She's looking at us doing a tantrum. Sophia would have never done anything like that.
No, Taylee never has.
No. But I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode.
Okay, thanks for listening, everybody. May your flights be on time and your luggage never lost, but if it's not, that's where the fun begins.
Bye. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Pack your dreams, grab your bag. Adventures call at Sig and Zag. From castles tall to ocean waves, magic made for wanderers brave. Theme parks light up the night, starry-eyed in sheer delight. Board the ships, set sail and see endless tales and fantasy. Chaos and carry-ons, let's go. Disney dreams in tow, you know. Every flight and every ride, join the journey, come inside. From Mickey ears to Dole Whip tree, pixie dust beneath our feet. Through the lands and sea we roam, feel the wonder, feel at home. From rope drop to the fireworks show, lose yourself in the joyful glow. Cruising waters, feeling free, every twist's a memory. Chaos and carry-ons, let's go. Disney dreams in tow, you know. Every flight and every ride, join the journey, come inside.